Check this quote out from the movie Inception. An idea is like a virus, resilient, highly contagious. Once an idea has taken hold in the brain, it's almost impossible to eradicate. That's so powerful and so true. And we might think of that in terms of like an idea about some conspiracy or something misleading in a very obvious, gross way, or a political ideology or something. But, and that's true, of course, those can take hold. They can cause you to do all kinds of crazy things. But this, what I'm interested in, is actually the very simple ideas that are so, well, simple. They're so fundamental to the other aspects of thinking that we do, that we don't even realize their beliefs. We don't even realize their beliefs. So what I'm suggesting, or what I'm inviting you to do, is ask yourself, what beliefs do I hold that are so fundamental to all of my thinking that I don't even notice their beliefs? I don't notice how insidious they are, how much effect they have on literally everything I experience, meaning right now, how you're experiencing this communication, how you're experiencing the device in front of you, how you're experiencing your own emotions, your own sensations, your own sense of an external world, an internal world. What are those fundamental beliefs, and how are they operating in you right now? And here's the crazy part. You can actually access this. So if you're new to what I talk about, this may sound crazy. Like, why would you even do that? It may sound scary. Like, you don't want to go messing with that, with the code. Don't mess with the code, you know? But what I would tell you is actually you should. Not only can you should. You can and you should. If it feels like something that's compelling to you, if it feels like the most important thing for you is truth, then you should actually investigate this. You should check into what are your fundamental beliefs that are so fundamental that they are like the foundation of a whole scaffolding of other beliefs that are built on top of those beliefs, those simple beliefs. And you may not know where to start. This may sound maybe too complicated or too obscure or too, I don't know, psychological, but just asking the question in and of itself is hugely valuable. What do I actually believe about myself that I don't even notice I believe about myself? And how's that affecting everything? How's it affecting the way I think about my partner, my children, my parents, my health, the world, truth, God, emotion? What's important, what's not important, what I should be doing, right? All of those aspects of our life are built. They're like, again, scaffolding built on top of very fundamental beliefs that you can actually directly confront. So just asking the question, what are these beliefs? What do I actually believe about reality? And then here's the fun part. When you start to sense what I'm talking about, that you actually do, you are holding these certain beliefs that are holding your whole reality together in a certain way. And you sense that that's true, you have the opportunity to start to directly confront them, like, what is this like without that belief? What is reality right now like without the belief that's holding all my other beliefs together, that my whole life is built on? Again, if this isn't a message you've heard before, you've never listened to me, this could sound really scary, right? Or it could sound super bizarre. But this is what we talk about. And many people have actually done this in a very precise, pointed, and kind of ruthless way until their experience of an external and an internal being opposed to one another collapses, till their experience of separation from everything completely dissolves. That's possible. You can live that way. And when the smoke clears, the dust clears, what's left is something I can't even talk about. It's impossible to talk about this, but it turns out to be okay. And with one caveat. And the caveat is, once all that framework of false ideas, realities, beliefs about yourself, the world, and others, and spirituality, and all of it just collapses, you will be called very directly, called meaning not by God or by some higher power, I mean called by experience, to confront or address or feel or all of the above, some shadow material. Shadow material just means the parts of yourself you weren't seeing because of all that scaffolding. To put it in a very simple way, if you're up here on the scaffolding, you're not seeing what's going on down here, down here, down here, down here, all the way down to the bottom in those very base beliefs. But strangely, you can confront those base beliefs. You can get to the foundation and start chipping away at it through various methods. But once that foundation starts to shift and then the scaffolding collapses, all of what you don't see underneath that, you're going to see it. More importantly, you're going to feel it. You're going to see that there are things you're doing that are totally out of alignment with who you are or with what you hold to be true, or with just your own experience of naturalness, of what it feels like to be naturally yourself. There are going to be things you're doing, believing, etc., that are just totally out of alignment with that. And you'll see it. It'll stick out like a sore thumb. And it'll feel really uncomfortable because there's going to be a part of you that wants to hold on to that part of yourself, your beliefs, your whatever. And a lot of those are justifications. A lot of those are coping mechanisms. You may see that you actually cause harm in some ways to people around you and you don't even know it. Doesn't mean you're a bad person. You probably do a lot of good. You probably do a lot more good than harm, but you may see, oh, wow, I do harm. You may see, oh, I actually hide things from people and myself. I'm avoidant. Oh, I'm avoidant, right? Like, these are the kind of things that will come up when you start to collapse this scaffolding. But I have playlists on shadow work and all that. I talk about it a lot. But that's the caveat, that there is a clarity that results from shattering this whole ecosystem of illusion based on these fundamental beliefs, these inception beliefs, right? Like in this quote. But as that collapse happens, you're going to confront things. You're going to confront things that are challenging in many ways. There are tools, there are ways, there are processes, there are relational fields that are really helpful for this, really, really helpful. But it can be challenging, just so you know, if you're interested in this kind of thing. I'll read the quote again. It's so beautiful. An idea is like a virus. Resilient. This is resilient. The scaffolding has its own self-protection mechanism. So yes, you can go directly to the foundation. You can confront the foundation directly through inquiry, through questioning in the right way. But just know there's some resilience to this process. The process fights back a little bit at first. There's ways to get leverage on it, but the process of continuing to identify with the false, that has a defense mechanism. So just know that's the resilience. It's resilient. It's highly contagious. Man, that is true. We share this among one another. It's not just your own internal world that's holding all this scaffolding of illusion together. It's scaffolding built outward with almost like feelers to other people you interact with. Have you ever thought about, do you have certain interactions with people where you use the interaction almost to stay unconscious, to avoid something, to complain, to not see certain things, to distract yourself, maybe even drinking buddies or something, I don't know, something with substances. All these kinds of relationships happen. So the scaffolding is contagious. We teach one another to stay asleep in a way, yeah? So it's like a virus, resilient, highly contagious. Once an idea has taken hold in the brain, and this happens very young age, several ideas, it's almost impossible to eradicate. So it's not impossible. It says almost impossible, and it's because of two things. One is the resilience, that it does have coping mechanisms of its own, defense mechanisms to prevent. And when you start to dig in, you'll feel this. You'll feel some fear, yeah? And then the second part is there's a massive social endorsement to not actually do this. So those two reasons stated there are brilliant, and they're pretty much what I think is a good summary of the real issues that make this challenging. But it's not impossible. You just have to go against the grain in certain ways. In Zen, they have this beautiful imagery of a fish swimming up a waterfall. You can imagine how much effort that would take, how tricky that is. There's something about that challenging the ego, the illusion structure, the scaffolding structure of what's unreal that we're all hypnotized by until we're not. That's a big challenge, and it takes some leverage, but it's doable. Isn't that fun?